I'm not going to tell you whether you should buy the iPhone 15 Pro series or not, because if you already have that kind of money, then I believe you must have made up your mind, and in that case, go buy yourself the iPhone 15 Pro or the iPhone 15 Pro Max and you will not be disappointed. You see, I am making this video for people looking to upgrade from an old iPhone Pro to the shiny new iPhone 15 Pro. So yes, the iPhone 14 Pro brought the dynamic island while the 120Hz ProMotion tech was introduced in the iPhone 13 Pro. But upgrading from these two iPhones won't show you that big of a difference. However, if you own an older iPhone 12 Pro or even an older iPhone Pro model, in that case, if you upgrade to these shiny new products, then you might see the charm and the worth of the iPhone 15 Pro series. Hello everyone, I'm Ania for Fiiber by India Today, and this is my review of the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But of course, before we get on with the rest of the review video and I tell you all the good and bad about these devices, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro series have reached the epitome of many things, one of them being the design. What started off as a squared-off design on the iPhone 12 Pro can easily be called a peak perfect design 3 generations down. As always, there are still two sizes, 6.1 inches and 6.7 inches, and when it comes to the design and build of these devices, here are my observations. So the use of titanium has surely brought a difference to weight, not just in terms of numbers but also in how comfortable the iPhone 15 Pro series feels in the hand versus the last generation iPhone 14 Pro or even much older generation iPhone Pro models. Additionally, I also feel that the brushed titanium frame looks more classy than the shiny and loud stainless steel finish. Of course, this is a subjective take, but what do you guys prefer, titanium or stainless steel? Although one advantage it brings is that these new iPhones are less slippery in hand. So the weight factor is sorted, the looks factor is sorted, and by the way, you know, this natural titanium shade, I think this is the best iPhone Pro shade to come in a long time, and it is also the best iPhone 15 Pro shade that does the best job of hiding the smudges and fingerprints that you get on the frame of the new titanium built iPhone 15 Pro. As you can see, the fingerprints and smudges are more prominent on darker shades, but this color does a much better job. But moving on, the grip is also improved thanks to the rounded corners of the edges. I mean, up until now, 12 Pro, 13 Pro and 14 Pro were sharp on the edges, but this is finally job well done with the iPhone 15 Pro. Finally, the iPhone 15 Pros also get the new USB Type-C charging port and the action button. And do I like the action button or not? You see, in my 2 weeks of testing, I haven't really developed a liking towards the feature, nor did I feel the need to change it to use it for any other function. I think if it gets the double click functionality or the triple click functionality, then maybe I can train myself to use this feature in the future more often. But as of right now, this action button is my fancy mute alert switch. The iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max feature a 6.1 inches and 6.7 inches OLED displays respectively, and if you go to Apple's product page, there's no difference here between the 14 Pro and 15 Pro's panel. So you get the same goodness in terms of quality, HDR video playback, up to 2000 nits brightness, and of course the dynamic island. However, the difference on the front comes in the form of slimmer bezels, and they are definitely slimmer than the 14 Pro's bezels. But of course, this is something that you will only notice when you keep the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 14 Pro side by side, because yes, these bezels are very slim, but the iPhone 14 Pro's bezels are also quite slim in their own right. Apart from this, no complaints were observed in our Fiiber display test. I mean, literally, these are top tier vibrant displays with superb brightness levels and crisp details. Personally, I prefer the 6.7 inches canvas of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but size aside, Both panels are superb for multimedia consumption, and the dual speakers are the best I have heard on any smartphone. And by best, I mean the volume distribution across the range is very good. These are one of the loudest and crispest sounding stereo speakers that I have heard on any smartphone. And you know, even at higher volumes, the audio has a lot of depth. Listen.
अमीर वाला जो एक होता है ना कि बस आप पैसा छापने वाले कैपिटलिज्म
टेलीकॉम से हटके अगर हम अंबानी पे डिबेट कर रहे हैं
अमीर वाला जो एक होता है ना कि बस आप पैसा छापने वाले कैपिटलिज्म
टेलीकॉम से हटके अगर हम अंबानी पे डिबेट कर रहे हैं.
So how did you find the quality of the speakers? I mean, if you ask me, then these are the best sounding stereo speakers that you can find on any smartphone right now. And of course, the display on these phones, no pun intended, is top notch. The iPhone 15 Pro series is powered by the brand new A17 Pro chipset, which is manufactured by TSMC on a new 3nm node. There are up to 1TB storage options and 8GB standard RAM on both the Pro and Pro Max. You can pause your screens and take a look at the variants. Okay, as for benchmarks, in Antutu, the score breaches the 1.5 million mark and even makes the Fold 5's score look stupid. Even in Geekbench, it's not about the A17 Pro chipset scoring significantly higher than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. It's about how near Apple's phone chipsets are getting in terms of benchmark performance to the standard M2 chips found in iPads and MacBooks. And you know, these benchmark numbers reflect in the real world performance of these smartphones as well, because the iPhone 15 Pro series with the 120Hz ProMotion technology are crazy stupid fast. And I'm not going to tell you how fine these machines handle your usual day-to-day tasks. Of course, that's not a problem here at all. Instead, let's address the elephant in the room, that is, do the iPhone 15 Pro overheat? Well, in my extensive testing of about 2 weeks, yes, the iPhone 15 Pro models do get quite warm at times, but overheating, I think that will be a bit of an exaggeration. Let me explain in the next segment. So with the latest iOS 7.0.2 release, the only time my iPhone 15 Pro Max got alarmingly hot was while installing Genshin Impact for the first time, and it got extremely hot on the left frame and at the rear where the motherboard is located. But after I was done doing that, everything has been smooth sailing. So I've played games on it, used the camera, watched videos and did a lot of video calls, and the thermals remained in check through and through. Speaking of games, playing Genshin Impact on the highest graphics with 120 FPS resulted in a smooth gameplay experience. Again, no Android phone, I say no Android phone can run Genshin Impact at these settings smoothly, and while playing, just mild heating was observed. Now in terms of battery drain, well, an hour of gameplay drained about a 19% battery, so depending on your mileage, you can expect a 19 to 20% drop in an hour of Genshin Impact gaming. Now since the iPhone 15 Pro could handle Genshin Impact with such finesse, such ease, playing Call of Duty Mobile on these phones was a piece of cake. So at best graphics and 90 FPS, Call of Duty ran smoothly as silk with no heating at all, and you can also do 120 FPS at medium graphics. In contrast, top Android phones also support 120 FPS but at low graphics settings. As for the overheating while charging, well, I charged the iPhone 15 Pro Max with my 150 watt OnePlus PD charger, and again, mild heating was observed just like every other phone heats while charging, so nothing alarming again. Overall, in my extensive testing of the iPhone 15 Pro with iOS 17.0.2, I did not see any sort of abnormal overheating on these devices. And yeah, one last thing, that is battery life. Now personally, out of the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, if endurance is what you are looking for, go for the Pro Max. It lasts like crazy. I mean, with moderate use on one cycle, it lasted me 42 hours on a single charge with 10% to spare. And even with heavy use, the 15 Pro Max is easily a one-day smartphone. However, idle battery drain over a 7-hour period at night with AOD turned on, I recorded about 10 to 12% battery drop on a consistent basis. So if you want to preserve battery life, using the phone without AOD is definitely suggested. Now as for the iPhone 15 Pro's battery, of course this one gets a smaller cell, so the endurance is not as much as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and also if you have the AOD turned on, then the battery drains faster. So again, I will suggest that if you disable the always on display on the iPhone 15 Pro, then with moderate to heavy usage you should be able to churn out at least a day's worth of endurance from the iPhone 15 Pro. The iPhone 15 Pro series features a brand new 48 megapixel primary rear camera with a second generation sensor shift OIS. This is coupled with a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera and a 12 megapixel 77mm telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom on the Pro, or a 120mm telephoto lens with 5x optical zoom on the Pro Max. The front still preserves the 12 megapixel true depth camera for selfies. Now a quick look at the camera interface, and it looks familiar like old iOS versions. That is, you have your usual photo, video, portrait mode, cinematic mode and the likes, and of course the new modes like the ProRes RAW photos and the log video recording can be enabled from the settings menu. With that said, the iPhone 15 Pro with its new 48 megapixel primary rear camera takes some really great pictures with excellent dynamic range, spot on white balance and quite accurate color. Especially coming from the camera of the iPhone 14 Pro series, the 15 Pro captures noticeably better details and sharpness in a photograph, something that you will be able to make out in zoomed in or zoomed out shots. Once again, when it comes to capturing human skin tones, there is none better than the iPhone 15 Pro, and with that, clicking portrait photos is also a delight on these phones. By the way, this time around the primary camera lets you capture photos in 3 different focal lengths, and photography enthusiasts are surely going to appreciate it. Especially the 35mm focal length will be the top choice for anyone who's into street photography. Apart from this, color retention among all lenses is the best on an iPhone, and be it day or night, shots taken in 0.5x, 1x, 3x or 5x preserve the colors as if there's no disparity between them at all. Now, telephoto photos also see a stark improvement on the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max with a 2x and 3x optical zoom on the Pro and a 2x and 5x optical zoom on the Pro Max. So this is a shot in 1x, 2x and 5x, 2x being the lossless zoom that you get from the main sensor, which again does a very good job in terms of maintaining the details and sharpness just about right. Even the 5x zoom shots look nice and actually give you the versatility to go up close to a subject, all while maintaining the crispness and colors in a photo just about right. Okay, as for the photos taken in the dark, and as you can see this one, there's nothing wrong with the photo as such apart from the haloing and the flaring issues caused. Again, something that we have already seen, always seen on past iPhones, and something that Apple still needs to fix. However, if you can ignore this bit, then again the iPhone 15 Pro takes excellent photos at night with no noticeable noise. Of course, the night mode does a brilliant job of exposing the photos in the best way possible, and it does a job well done. Human skin tones look great, sharpness and facial textures are well preserved. Even the portrait mode photos taken at night look very eye-pleasing with a deep background blur and superb edge detection. This reminds me, you can now capture a photo in normal mode from the rear or front, and just in case you want to later turn it into a portrait mode photo, you can do so in post by simply editing the photograph. But yeah, do make sure to enable depth control by heading over to camera settings from the phone's settings. Finally, when it comes to taking selfies, the 12 megapixel camera is unchanged and the quality is fine. I mean, iPhone clicks good selfies and the 15 Pro is also decent. However, I would rather pick a Samsung to click selfies over an iPhone, especially during the night where you really need to keep your hands steady in order to click detailed selfies. However, portrait selfies taken at night look soft when it comes to preserving facial details, and no matter how hard I tried to keep my hands stable, the results remained unchanged. So this right here is the 4K 60 FPS video sample being shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and as you all know that iPhones are known for recording the best videos, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max is no different. Of course, top-notch video quality. Narendra, please walk towards me. Let us show the stabilization also, and stabilization is again top-notch, excellent dynamic range, accurate colors, and you know, iPhones also do the best lens switching, also one of the smoothest on any phone, actually the smoothest on any smartphone. Quickly, 1x to 2x Naren, and 2x to 5x, and 0.5x if we can go, and again on 1x. So this is the kind of lens switching that you can do on the iPhone 15 Pro. Again, top-notch quality. How does my audio sound? How does the stabilization look? What do you think about the colors? Let me know everything in the comments. And next up is the selfie video. And this right here is the 4K 60 FPS sample shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max from the front camera. This is the max this phone can shoot, and again, one of the best selfie videos that you can record on any smartphone. And the way the iPhone manages the exposure adjustment also, like how the light is falling on you, and then you shift your camera to a different light and see how my exposure is naturally being adjusted, not in a very harsh way. It does so very naturally, very smoothly. So that's the beauty of the iPhone when it comes to video recording. Rest, what do you think about the overall video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? How do you find the stabilization? Let me know everything in the comments. And of course, a full-blown camera review video of the iPhone 15 Pro is coming very soon on the Fiiber channel, so stay tuned for that. And next up is the verdict. So as I said at the start, that the iPhone 15 Pro series have reached the epitome of many things, and while these phones may feel like a facelifted version of the iPhone 14 Pro series, nonetheless these devices are peak perfection. So the design is reminiscent of the iPhone 12 Pro, 13 Pro and 14 Pro, but with the inclusion of the titanium frame and the rounded corners, the iPhone 15 Pro is the most comfortable, most lightest and most classy looking Pro iPhone to date. Now gone is the mute ring switch in favor of the action button, which may be just limited to single click functionality at present. Opening the door for double tap and triple tap inputs sounds interesting. Then there's USB Type-C, for which yes, Apple is definitely late to the party, but glad they finally offer it, and of course, God bless the EU for this. Now while battery life is more or less the same as the 14 Pro, the performance gains are god tier, and with the console level games soon hitting the iPhone 15 Pro models, it's going to be a treat for gamers. And lastly, the camera is world class and offers more versatility than ever, along with the option to have up to 5x zoom shots on the Pro Max. And with everything considered, I also said at the start that if you are looking for an upgrade from a 13 Pro or 14 Pro, I would say hold on for the next generation 16 Pro model. That one is going to be a major redesign. As for iPhone 12 Pro or old iPhone users, upgrading to the new iPhone 15 Pro series will be huge for you guys. Fiiber rates the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max a solid 8 out of 10, but you guys let me know your thoughts. What do you think about these shiny new iPhones? And of course, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.